Welcome back to the PCS. In our closing game of the day, we have a battle between two county food fair food favorites in Oreo and Taco, as we have Hurricane Gaming versus Impunity coming up so far. Before we dive into the matchup, a big thank you to our sponsors in CTBC Bank and Caliber, and of course to our organizers, Garena, Carry Live, and of course Riot Games. So in this one, we have a lot of different chips for both of the sides here, and I don't mean food stakes. We have Impunity. If they win this matchup, they will actually move over to 6th place, just one spot shy beyond the top 5, overtaking MFT with the head-to-head. And for Hurricane Gaming, they want to prove that they can beat more teams than just Sem9. So this one definitely has a lot going for both teams.
Yeah, and I mean, for the side of Hurricane Gaming, you would be a lot more comfortable at your chances of playoffs if you do get the second win in the first half of the split. And I mean, on the flip side, for Impunity, it means a lot more to try and climb up further up the stands or up the standings. And this squad has, I feel like it plays almost similarly to Sem9 with its teams or with its team composition. Faith has been a bit of a liability when it comes to the mid lane, but contrary to Sem9, they've had those macro movements and being able to move around the map effectively. The issue for them has really been some of these minor mistakes that really blow up in their face, like getting caught out once and then all of a sudden everyone's starting to get caught out. It's really they live life on a razor's edge, because the moment they step across or fall off that edge, they really tumble very quickly.
For sure. Impunity has been struggling just a little bit. Macro-wise, they looked fine. Moving on to Hurricane Gaming, ICU in the top side. Alia, our county fair favorite. I love fried Oreos. They're so good. And of course, our mid laner coming over in Cha-Cha, and the bot lane of Bangtu and Enhao, rounding out the same composition. These guys have showcased very interesting strats, I would say, but haven't had the best of successes.
Yeah, this is also a team that lives life on not the edge but on the coin flip. Really, it's all about Alia and how he tries to set up the map. His big carry in this squad, of course, is ICU. We got to see him play his namesake Irelia to not so great effect because of how Alia was shut out of the game, but that will be our comparison in this particular game. For the side of Hurricane Gaming, they for sure will go ahead ban away that Tryndamere. That's really not a question, as they have not shown themselves to pick it up. And for the side of Impunity, we're not going to see the Jace, just because ICU, he loves that Jace way too much. So top lane, when it comes to carries outside of the jungle, that's going to be the lane to focus on.
I have to agree with you. Both of these guys love their fighters. But in terms of jungle pressure, it does seem like Quiet might be getting a bit of an edge here. ICU, we've seen him in so many 1v2 positions. I think he's a great player, but unfortunately not able to showcase it all that much. He has a tall task ahead of him, and just paying homage to this guy, he somehow has a positive gold lead despite the entire team losing. So that's just how good he is when he's playing under like a microscope at all times and having to deal with those 1v2s. I'm super excited about these two facing head-to-head.
Yeah, and I mean, ICU, it really just comes down to what he has around him, right? His mid lane isn't necessarily gaining a lot of threats, so a lot of teams don't worry about the mid lane. They aren't really worried about the bot lane either, while Bang2 has shown that he's quite serviceable on some of these AD carries. Really, a lot of times, and how ends up getting caught out of positions where he shouldn't be. They end up having to move Enhao to elsewhere on the map to try and shore up either mid lane pressure or try and help out top lane. So Bang2 is really left on an island by himself, and as a result, like, what are you gonna do? The only threat if you're the opponents is just to throw everything at ICU, shut him down, the one big carry potential, and then with that, the game naturally kind of just falls away.
Yeah, that has been exactly what we've seen from Hurricane Gaming. Mid-jungle, very inconsistent. Bang 2 has a killer instinct for sure in team fights, but the duo overall has not been having great laning performances. So that does throw a lot of pressure into ICU, even though he's actually been somehow to come out of his lane quite consistently ahead. I think he's been doing a great job there. He isn't allowed to play out those 1v1s. And unfortunately, that's what fighters are born for. They're born for the duels, and the enemy team just gets to play 2v1 in campus lane. So that's kind of Hurricane's issues right now. I think against Impunity, we will see better performances from their bot lane, better performances from their mid lane. I do expect these lanes to kind of be freed from their laning phase trappings, and hopefully this matchup will be less about just who dominates who in the first 15 minutes and can be more about the creativity that we have seen from these two comps.
Yeah, creativity is sort of the name of the game. When it for Impunity, it comes down to how they approach the map. They're very good with their macro movements, of course. And for the side of Hurricane Gaming, their creativity comes through some of these draft phases. Of course, no one's playing Jace in the PCS, so ICU has the advantage there. No one's really playing Irelia, so that's another pick you have to watch out for. And then you also have the weird curveball picks coming from Alio, being a former mid laner. He has brought out the Echo in the jungle, and in that bot lane we've seen some stranger things like the Ziggs Trundle bot lane that we saw yesterday.
Hey, that's not so strange if you're talking about last year's meta. I agree with you. I feel like for Hurricane Gaming, they have a very clear identity in trying to burst down targets rather than try to fight these sustained, I would say, more positional team fights. What we've seen from Bane 2 has been like the Halo Blades Tristana, the Twitch, and from Alio, you have these like high burst champions. Like, he doesn't build tank on Hecarim. He's going for the Divine Sunder, and he's going to all damage Echo. So they know what they want to play, but I think in terms of the early game, it doesn't allow them to actually develop those strategies because they just fall too far behind in terms of the laning phase. That's kind of what we've seen from Hurricane.
Yeah, and usually when I look at the opponents for these teams, I go ahead and say, all right, well, this mid lane, usually you're able to take advantage of this mid lane matchup for either of the opponent's squads. However, in this particular matchup, with both of these mid laners being a little bit of a void, I'm looking for Faith to be the one to step up, to have a good game, because we've seen him against both MFT and Sem9. He was able to get a good lane phase, and he's been able to perform when he's had a good lane phase. On the flip side, we haven't necessarily seen that from Chacha.
It's definitely true. Faith's Yasuo actually stuck with me for quite a while. Even though he wasn't able to get ahead in the laning phase, it's kind of just sometimes RNG kill distribution. But he was able to play the team fights with such ferocity and always using his wind walls and the correct moments right there. So I do expect Faith to give us more of those kind of assassin type champions. And I feel like Chacha might be going there as well, as he does seem to form a natural duo, both being in person in Shanghai with Alio.
Yeah, and I think it's going to come down to some of these smaller team synergies to try and make the difference in this particular game. We do have we do have a cat, yes. So
small cat. So just since you mentioned it,
cat on stream, always a plus. It appears that we're in a bit of a slower period as we wait to get into game, so we have time to take a bit of a cat nap in the discussion. But yeah, looking at these teams, it should be fun because of how mechanics shouldn't necessarily be that large of a difference this time around, unlike in a lot of some a lot of their other losses.
All right, it's time to put your money where your mouth is and give me your predictions.
I mean,
Hurricane? Is it going to be the Oreo or is it going to be the taco? That's the real question.
It has to be the healthier, slightly healthier option, right? In taco.
Slightly healthier. Okay, how about this? I deep fry the Oreo and make it a true American style county fair food.
I mean, it's really tempting. And I feel like for a one-off, it's good, but too much of it is. You have 5 of them, and man, that really goes through your system, and you just can't move the rest of the day.
Hey, come on! Nobody puts Oreos on top of the food pyramid, okay? We're just talking about like preferences. So, but basically, what I'm getting for you is that you do expect Impunity to still win out in this matchup. Maybe because of that. I feel like they are a little bit more disciplined when it comes to map movements. That for sure
Absolutely.
is something. Yeah. Hurricane Gaming, how they strike me as is like their instant communication is definitely just kind of lacking, and I can understand that when you're trying to play with ping and sometimes packet loss. So it seems like if you just surround Hurricane Gaming and then you try to like tear them in 2 directions, they just kind of come apart. And then Cha-Cha's usually the one like on the sideline. He's like, oh, wait a minute, you guys backed out? You guys are going in, and you just get gobbled up on the side. And that's kind of how like the games usually go. So if Impunity are smart enough, that's kind of the bad thing about Impunity as well, because sometimes they have to play on different pings too. But we'll find out as we finally get into the game. We had a short pause right there, but thank you very much for your patience. We're gonna go through the ban picks here. It is the Tryndamere, like you mentioned, away from Quiet, and of course Zeri gonna get banned out on red side. For Impunity, we see the Akali taken away and Zinzao Renekton. Pretty common bans, leaving just the last one here for Hurricane Gaming. Let's see what they're gonna do here. A lot of strong picks for Impunity. They love their Jinx play.
Could be the Gwen, the Jinx.
Nothing. Huh. Okay.
Oh, okay.
We just got word
like,
from our producer. They actually just missed the ban. Timed out. They didn't ban anything.
Clement, it's because there's so many left available. They decided if we just leave them all up, we'll get 2 ourselves.
All right, let's see if these 2 picks are worth it. I'm gonna be so surprised if they just go for something that's like completely outside the meta. We had some weird stuff coming from Hurricane, like Twitch Lulu lanes. We saw the Gnar being selected as a counter pick. We're gonna start off with the Karma. Let's see where this goes.
If this gets locked in, I'm fully expecting a Hecarim to come right here. There's no way you just lock in Karma like that without really defining what you're going to play with it. It could be something like an Ezreal. Bank 2, I think his Ezreal looks really, really nice, and it fits how they want to play. But it does feel like the Karma comes too early regardless. And for this next pick, I also fully expect the Jace to just get locked in here for ICU, as you want to secure him a good matchup before it gets banned and taken away from you in that second phase.
Totally agree. Would also add to that sort of poke composition. I just want to say, after seeing the Karma and Ezreal, that was definitely just a misban. It wasn't a let's leave everything on the table type of ban for sure. Not really contested champions whatsoever. Impunity gonna go for the 1-2 punch of Gwen and Jinx. I checked our stats, so nobody has been able to. Only one game was Gwen and Jinx on the first red side rotation, but whoever got Gwen and Jinx on blue side, round 1 and round 2, has just gone on to win the game. So the stats are definitely on Impunity's side here. Hurricane Gaming, though, is going to end up with the Jace. That was a great call from Nightstar.
I mean, ICU, he just loves this Jace pick, and he's showcased himself to be very proficient on this Jace pick. And it's also a pick that can carry games because you hit multi-man shockwaves or accelerated shock blasts, and it really just decimates the backline. And that's the only tool they really have to utilize against something like this Jinx, who does outrange them or will outrange their front line. So they're playing the range battle here at the moment, so it's not a bad look from draft, but we need to see how it performs in the second phase when they really round out their composition.
Yeah, like the Diana being banned away, it's very deadly against comps. For Impunity, I'm rather surprised that they're just hard targeting all of these junglers. Alio has a lot of experience playing with this Olaf. He had a previous jungler that played basically only Olaf. So you would be comfortable with that one, but they are going to lock in the Rise first for Cha-Cha. Should be very comfortable on this one of his most played. And I do think with the root, it can play a sort of disengage or repositioning with the Realm Warp for the rest of the team. Meanwhile, Impunity have to decide on probably stacking a little bit more engage, and they are going to go with the Scion. Haven't seen this pick in quite a while, and we know there are some interesting ways to play this Scion. We'll see if it happens. Faith now deciding on what to go with. He has played a lot of tempo champions. We have mentioned the Yasuo, and he does have a knack for kind of these fighters or assassins.
He's also played the Ahri pick before, so it's not surprising that he would go ahead and lock that one in. For the side of Hurricane Gaming, the Rise pick makes a lot of sense in the fact that they are lacking a little bit of engage. If they wanted to take a more defensive approach, I would have suggested something like the Syndra. However, they've kind of identified, hey, we want something that can go forward, even though it runs a little bit contrary to the first half of their draft, with the Jace, with the Ezreal, with the Karma, and then they go ahead round it out with the Olaf. This also very expected because of the fact you want some sort of frontline-ish champion. Hopefully we get to see the Ghost come out from the Olaf, as there's not exactly a whole lot that he's flashing over. Maybe he's trying to get over these Flame Chompers from Blaze, but I would much rather see a better scaling summoner with the Ghost to be able to try and have a lot more impact early on and also chase down some of these targets.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I definitely agree with you that, like, when in terms of chase down, it's better with the Ghost. But then I look at Jace and Ezreal and I'm just like, I'm not sure how often he's gonna be chasing people now. It feels like the rest of the team is just gonna be like, oh, Alio, good luck. Go chase him down.
I mean, at least with the Ghost, you run fast while you're doing it, you know?
That's also true. That's also true.
And it's not like he has to contend with a Jarvan ultimate, which would be the big reason why I would really want that flash. Is like, okay, if Jarvan ults me, I'm kind of just doomed with Ghosts running around in circles in a Cataclysm. But in this case, he doesn't have a ton of those things to navigate, at least terrain wise, and his ultimate is going to provide that CC inability to be CC'd for him to charge some of these backline targets.
For sure. Olaf, it seems like an old alpha and now Hurricane Gaming kind of crutch pick. This is something they know how to play with. They've had great success on relative to their normal play. In the meantime, taking a look at Impunity's comp, I just adore this Scion pick. This Scion pick, it fits so well into the composition of what they want to do, how they want to counteract the enemy team. It soaks damage, and it also engages for you. Kind of a rare pick in the PCS, but definitely a great one.
Yeah, and it's such a nice pivot as well because you early picked the Gwen as the first pick of the draft, and then you go ahead, hold on, and just say, hey, you know, you go ahead, double ban us in the jungle. That's too bad because we'll just move this Gwen into the jungle role. Taco very comfortable on carry champions, of course, and now, like, you get a solid matchup with the Scion in the top lane. Certainly not exactly like an insane matchup for Scion, but he's able to survive, and that's really the key thing because you want to play around this Jinx.
Love that Hurricane Gaming are already playing with purpose right out the gate. Stacking up S4, trying to get a catch. Very common when you see this sort of Karma Olaf setup. But Impunity seem wise to the shenanigans. They had one person standing Pingwei in the bottom side brush, and they also have this inner tribe warded. So Impunity have done their due diligence. It looks like Hurricane Gaming might be still opting for a late invade. This could be very deadly because Impunity are all here. They're still going in after.
They're committed. This is a 4-man knockup. Oh, just kidding.
They
Still
only
dead.
got the one man, but that's a huge loss as Alio has to walk back to his own jungle.
At the very least, it's not gonna impact Alio too much. The big thing is because you already killed Enhao, you know bot lane isn't going to be able to get priority. Well, actually, because I mean, Alio's starting bot side, so maybe it doesn't have an impact because you're not going to look for a late invade to try and punish a low health bar Olaf. However, it does mean Taco's saying, hey, we'll just sneak away this top half of the map and steal away what we can up here.
Yeah, very well done there. They had the wards early in the enemy jungle, so they know where Alio has started. But Cha-Cha is going to try and stop this one.
Good
Taco is
board.
level 2, though. This could be a fight brewing on our hands. Cha-Cha will force a little bit of damage onto Taco. Taco does get the smite down.
They could
it
probably
will just
turn
evolve into a 3v3.
Wait!
A preemptive flash from ICU. He catches out. Taco takes him down, and the fight is on. Alio going in with the ghost. Will slow down Faith, and ICU picks up another one. Hurricane Gaming rebound from a terrible start.
And man, what a massive win there. Because of the fact that, oh, yes, Taco got first blood, but what were the consequences of that first blood? Really nothing. You just die there, but Taco doesn't get a chance to spend that money, so he doesn't have the extra damage stats to, you know, clear faster or do more damage when it comes to just fighting champion to champion. And he's on the red buff the entire time. Cha-Cha's not worried about the damage turning onto him, and ICU, he's just too big brain. He flashes over to the wall knowing Taco's coming over. I think he was hoping for a chance to just punt him back towards his team, but it doesn't matter because he's on the right side. And Faith, with this Ahri pick, not very good early on. You don't have the levels for when your orb really starts doing damage, so he just kind of is there to die.
Yeah, very unfortunate for Faith trying to save his teammate right there. ICU gets every last bit of damage, gets a shock blast before the flash, and then goes down to chase down for the kill. That was beautiful, and this is why I love watching ICU. You know, I've made it very clear. I think the rookies to watch this split are Criscata and ICU. Those are the two names you want to know if you want to pay attention to who are the potential talents that are up and coming in the PCS so far, showcasing some good performances. In the meantime, Cha-Cha, who has had lane control, is going to be poking in. I believe he does spot Taco out here as the pings do go down from both sides. He's dropping a ward right on top of Taco, though. That one is going to be a little bit hard to defend. He will have some help from Alio.
Alio's still level 3. Oh my god. He's going to run straight down.
Nearly going down, but Pingwei might be going down first. Now Blaze has to run away, holding on to his flash. He will take the undertow, but so far is fine, and Taco will make sure that his AD carry survives.
Taco with a nice play to try and answer back. And, I mean, with the second kill not going down, that's actually really, really nice there for the side of Impunity, although Hurricane Gaming or Alio able to get that Scuttle Crab means he is able to hit level 4 and he goes straight onto this dragon. I think Ocean Dragon is probably one of the harder hitting dragons here, so that's why he needs his team to come over to help out. Otherwise, he would have executed to PvE once again.
Yeah, that slow is definitely one of those things that really hurts Olaf early on. It kind of wants his passive, so we're going to take another replay of that scuffle into the bot lane. It was a straight up 2v2 to begin with, but the target focus being a little bit better here from Hurricane Gaming as they kite out into the full minion wave. Baitu goes over. Baitu was about to let Blaze go, but thinks better about it. Stops hitting the minions, goes forward, nearly gets the kill, but doesn't get the flash in the end there. As we come back, it does look like blue was still secured on the side of Hurricane Gaming.
Yeah, some really nice play coming in from the Hurricane bot
pops
side.
the ultimate,
Okay,
wants to go for the kill. He does have the ignite already, but I can't find the last decimating smash. Good from ICU.
ICU able to get out of there. Feels good for him, and of course he has the first strike, so he's trying to farm up as much gold as possible in this situation. And how now making a roam over the mid lane, allow Cha-Cha to get that reset off without any consequence, as he is really out of mana. So, and how making a nice little roam there, knowing that bot lane is probably not really going to come under threat. And I mean, for Impunity, when they took that bot lane trade, it was really just a mismanagement of the waves, right? They just take so much damage, or Pinway does, from the extra minions that were coming in, and because of where he's fighting so far forward, they don't get the help from their minions.
Yeah, and he's not running Aftershock, going with the Glacial Augment instead. Very good at catching people out, not so good when you have to face tank. So we have the level 6 spike coming in from Bang 2, and you can see Blaze instantly backing off. That's definitely a one-shot potential, as he doesn't have the heal there. And Quiet in the meantime, no surprises from him. He's going to go for a more standard build, of course. We all wanted to watch some, I would say, more interesting Scion builds, but this is definitely the more... Exactly. I love the lethality Scion build. It's so funny, and it's actually been proven to work even in High Challenger. I will say, though, the tank build is definitely more fitting for the composition, especially against the poke.
It's a lot more consistent, too.
Yes.
As it's really fun to see the Scion all kind of one-shot backline targets, but the consistency you get is not always there.
But why would you need consistency if you can one-shot?
Well, that is true. You just need that one. It's essentially just needing that one shock blast coming in from Jason the Tournament fight. As long as you hit that one ultimate. But it looks like we're going to have that one team fight early on.
It's a good surround coming in from Hurricane Gaming. Quiet already taking a little bit of damage. They're just waiting for the go button here. Surround is down, and Hurricane Gaming are not going to let Impunity leave. Undertow goes through. Alio pops the Ragnarok, going in onto Taco. ICU in the meantime dodges away from most of the damage, flashes out. The first kill goes over to Hurricane Gaming. I believe the Herald does as well. Impunity trying to make their grand escape. ICU going in for a little bit more damage, but gets stunned up and goes Impunity forward. Will he survive? The charm lands. ICU does go down, but the rest of the team is able to take just a little bit more. It ends up being another just trade there, probably in favor of Impunity if I have to call that one. In the meantime, Blaze and Bang 2 having a bit of a scuffle, and Impunity actually are the ones to secure the Herald. Excuse me, I thought that Alio might have been able to steal that one.
Yeah, it ends up going in favor of Impunity. They get themselves the Rift Herald, and they trade evenly when it comes to kills. They even get an extra plate down in that bottom lane. We'll go ahead and watch that replay here, as it's just a split focus coming in from both of these teams. However, one target has a way to run out, and that is ICU, whereas the other target has to run, or he's just stuck in the pit. However, the side of Hurricane Gaming, once more, they show that there is communication issues with this squad, right? Because ICU, he knows that they can push for more. The rest of his team are kind of settling for less in that moment, and it isn't until ICU overcommits that they're going, oh, okay, we should probably join this play as well.
Yeah, that was a weird sequence. I felt like ICU chasing in, they would only get more kills if Impunity misplayed. As we do see ICU continuing to bait Quiet in. Taco might be the victim instead, though. We do have Pingwei moving up here as well, unspotted. So, oh, they actually do know about Pingwei here. Oh, well, both supports coming up. Taco trying to make an escape. Realm Warp is going down. Big thing is about Faith. He misses everything, and now Taco is rooted up. He just dies, unfortunately, right there. Cha-Cha's damage goes through without a hiccup, and wow, that was rather unfortunate. Now Blaze might find himself a kill onto ICU. Ult goes down, nowhere for ICU to go, and they do equalize at the very least.
Yeah, misplay coming in from ICU as he gets a little bit too antsy over at his tower, doesn't concede that turn, and instead wants to fight it out, try and salvage what he can, and unfortunately he just dies for free in that instance. He will get a Inferno Dragon for him, for his squad though, I suppose, but it's still all in all, like, Impunity are still finding the trades, which is exactly what we kind of highlight from this team. They will take what they are given. And for Hurricane Gaming, you know, we finally get to see them get a lead during the early phase. Can they continue to push that lead? That will be the question.
We do have the intensive care unit set up here by Impunity. They are going to give ICU a lot of love, a lot of company, and it's down to Hurricane Gaming to really make a counter-strike. We finally have Cha-Cha and Aliyah here. They will back up ICU. Let's see if they can get the Herald beforehand. Faith goes in, but unfortunately doesn't land the charm. That's bad news for Penguins. I don't think he's making it out of this one.
Yeah, and the chase is actually really nuts over on the side of Hurricane Gaming, right? You have the speed up coming in from the Karma. This is why Karma is such a nice pick over something like a Nautilus, is that while Nautilus can generate a pick for you, if the fight doesn't go well on that initial engage, like, you're 100% dead. And the Karma just punishes that squad very easily, because then everyone else is almost overcommitted as well. So the chase is going to come out, and now
we have Quiets revving up from halfway across.
Here's the drift,
map, and they find the needlework. They don't get the stun down, but it still will be a kill. Pretty cool nonetheless. I love it when Scion players are willing to just start the roar and just charge down the river. Like, because as an enemy, you hear that sound effect from very far away. That's just the confidence Quiet has in making sure that kill is secured.
Absolutely, and that's the big benefit of having a Scion, right? Is that you do have that long-range engage power coming in from that ultimate, and against really a squad that doesn't have a defined tank, that's going to be very helpful. So that's why they drafted this into their composition, but now bot lane could come under threat for the side of Impunity.
A 3-2 developing right here. Looks like Impunity want absolutely none of it. They back off, handing over the tower. Again, it's all focused on ICU. ICU, I would say, definitely has seen better days. I think he should have seen Quiet. Oh, well, now he sees him for sure, and he's just trying to clear out the wave, try to find the 1v1 while Quiet cannot interfere. Does do a lot of damage, and Quiet does not find the slow, so ICU actually outplays. Well done.
Yeah, very well done from him. Gets himself extra gold as well, of course, with the first strike, you know, so he essentially gets 2 or 3 bonus minions from that trade. As we are going to see, of course, tower plates. It's really a flip of sides for both of these teams, and because they were able to trade somewhat evenly with the plating, it means that Impunity has been able to keep this gold lead relatively close too.
I would venture to say that this is probably the most cohesive game we've seen from Hurricane Gaming. They've won their team fights, they've done well in their skirmishes, and now they have another chance to prove that to us as they are on top of the Herald. Impunity trying to fly in, Faith going into the back line. Can he find the charm this time? Aliyah will pick up the Herald. Faith still waiting for a chance to go in. He finally does pop over the wall, doing a lot of damage, but in the meantime, Cha-Cha picks off Pingwei, who thought Ari was on the top side. This is a little bit scattered from both sides. We do get a kill from Blaze. He's going to get excited. Cha-Cha walking around the roof again. Double kill to Blaze. He's going to clean this one up. He's so low, but he does fall down in the end. Bang 2. Now with the Conqueror fully stack up, finds himself in a solo versus Faith, but he gets help from the Quiet Zombie, and that's going to be an ace for Impunity.
Oh, Clement, I don't want to see the replay, but we need to see the replay to see how that happened, how that fight actually happened, because for the longest time, Faith takes the Hex Gate over behind the Dragon Pit, and he essentially waits for half the fight to be over before he decides it's time to fight. Because we get to see him go over the gate. He's kind of just stuck waiting, and then when he goes in, he charms, and I mean, conveniently, Aliyah actually sidesteps, and it hits a much better target than the Olaf, but it's just pandemonium, right? It's just absolutely bedlam inside this Rift Herald fight because no one really knows what they're doing, and I think that really benefits Hurricane Gaming. Yes, they come out 1 kill down, but if everyone doesn't know what they're doing, that will benefit Hurricane Gaming, who really haven't known what they've been doing this entire split.
That is probably the most difficult concept for my brain to like wrap around. Like if neither team are playing well, then Hurricane Gaming. Oh well. However, we do have Impunity that is now grouping up in the mid lane. They're going to push this tower down with or without any minions here. In the meantime, we have top tower trade, just putting even more gold into Cha-Cha's hands there. And I thought it was kind of weird because I actually felt like Hurricane Gaming won that. Like, Faith took so long to engage. Yep. He actually juked Pingwei into his death because Pingwei thought that Ari was still on the top side. And then Enhao just face checks into a brush. Like, it was really weird because I feel like Hurricane Gaming should have came out so far ahead of that fight. They don't. Impunity take the mid lane tower, and instead, now Faith walks himself into a 2v2. Let's see if they can take the fight the entire way. Faith does know what he's doing. He gets the kill. Taco with Conqueror's charge up is going to get another one. And Impunity has officially came out of the mud. They are the kings of the Rumble. They're getting up on their feet, and they're starting to dominate.
Yeah, and the big thing has been, while Hurricane Gaming, they try and play around the top jungle 2v2, Impunity are very, very used to playing around the top jungle 2v2 as well. And in this case, or not the top jungle in that moment, of course, but it ends up being mid jungle. But when you compare where a lot of the gold has been going for Hurricane Gaming, it's been going into Cha-Cha, so playing away from him does not feel good. And that's why they end up losing that fight, because while you want to play around ICU, where he is in the game doesn't match where he usually is during the game.
He's not really doing that much damage. We have Quiet pretty well farmed up. He's less than 10 CS behind at this point. Has his mythic and tank item. And I'm a little bit flabbergasted that we didn't see Hurricane Gaming with a poke composition trying to set the Herald mid. Like, usually, you know, setting up sieges is what poke compositions do, but you can tell how much emphasis they place on ICU. They need that man ahead. He has been one of their better players and one of their core carries, so they're playing outside of the purview of their composition just to force feed this Jace. Very interesting tactics. We'll find out if it pays off in the end. But right now we are going to go into a sort of a scuffle for this Drake and for this side of the jungle here. I really don't want to see Hurricane Gaming fully engage without landing some of that poke now that they have that Mirror Mana completed.
Yeah, some big power spikes coming in. They're getting close to the Mirror Mana complete on Bang 2 as well. That will be a big boost to his ability to output damage in these fights. And with 90 seconds left before that next dragon comes to spawn, I think Bang 2 should be able to get the evolution by that point. And for Hurricane Gaming, they would love to find a pick before that fight truly breaks out, because again, in the all-in, Impunity would have the advantage in that regard. But the range advantage is still there for Hurricane Gaming. You have a Karma, you have a Jace, you have an Ezreal, so you have to play elusive around these Karma shields and around the Shurelias to really be able to showcase a difference in compositional here.
Aliel just walks straight towards Faith. Doesn't take a lot of damage, maybe trying to force out the ultimate, but doesn't get it in the very end. And we kind of return to a standstill. Yeah.
For Impunity, it's going to come down to that first CC target, right? You have the Scion ultimate, Scion engage, you have the Scion knockup as well. If they kind of just walk up into Fog of War, it's very easy, of course, to hit that knockup. And then you also have the Charm and the Hook. So this comp's going to be a little bit more reliant on getting the first pick to get that reset and really snowball the fight. afterwards, or it's about Taco being able to get access into the back line to chase down these targets back there.
I love watching teams playing against Scion because it's a true trust fall moment. You have to see who is willing to tank one for the team and actually stand in front of the train. Looks like Hurricane Gaming actually are not going to stand in front of the train. They aren't even going to go near the tracks. They just kind of back out. No poke done either. So it's interesting. I felt like they could have gotten a little bit more done there, but this is probably the safest play.
Yeah, playing it perhaps a little bit too passive, and I think again it plays to the fact that maybe Hurricane Gaming just not all on the same page here, and don't fully understand how they want to play out this composition. And for the side of Impunity, we've always said they have an idea on how to play the game. They don't always get the execution perfect to a T though, and so far it's when the mechanics don't become as much of a problem as it is going to be against Hurricane Gaming, then they are able to shine a little bit more.
Very interesting trade of ultimates here. I'm not really sure what Blaze wanted to accomplish with the Super Mega Death Rocket. Like, if he shot it into the fountain, I can sort of understand. He's like chancing for a kind of like a Baron call. But he shot it sideways, so not really sure what that one was for. It is a pretty low cooldown though. He almost has it up once again, so I guess it doesn't matter all that much. As we do have Hurricane Gaming now trying to position around Baron completely. They do have to be very careful about that Hex Gate though. Sending Taco into the backline is super easy on this current map. And we do have to move in from Impunity. Let's see if Hurricane Gaming can finally get some poke before the big fight does start. Quiet is going to lead the charge. They find the slow onto Bang 2. Shockwave
wow,
comes
look at that
in.
damage.
It did nothing. As we do have Taco trying to face check here.
Out.
Bang 2 doesn't land the ultimate either, so yeah, a lot of whiffing on both sides, but Impunity has effectively taken control of the closer route to Baron.
But they have a death bush. Maybe.
Quiet is so tanky. Now, finally some damage that they can't just heal out of Taco. Down to half HP. The red buff is going to be the target that they fight over. Alio goes down instantly. Not sure that's what they wanted to die over. Cha-Cha now having to back out with the flash. ICU trying to go in, but that's 1v5. He flashes out immediately afterwards. Hurricane Gaming, their game plan is in shambles. Bang 2 try to get the damage necessary to dissuade them from to start Baron. ICU with another 3-man shock blast, keeping this one close. Are Impunity going to start Baron? That's the big question here. Oh, so much damage onto Blaze. That's probably going to be a no, and Hurricane Gaming know it. They are going to go down mid lane. Quiet doesn't have the ultimate anymore, so he doesn't have the onslaught to charge in.
Look at the poke.
Lacking engage. I think ICU has managed to stall that plan off.
Yeah, Impunity, they have to get a lot more from their ultimate usages, right? You have to get multiple picks. It can't just be the one, because once that fight resets, that's where the oppression will start coming through with the Ezreal Qs, with the Jace EQs, and even the Karma providing a little bit extra damage. Yes, it's not the Moonstone, so you're not able to heal up your own team, but at the very least, you're able to be extremely mobile, and if that first engage doesn't stick, you're able to use that extra movement speed to just run away. And Bang 2 now actually completes the Crown of the Shattered Queen, which is great in this instance because of how little range that they do have to remove that passive off of them. It really comes down to Blaze landing either an ultimate or a zap to pull that off, pull that passive off. And it also means that that first engage on a target like Ezreal is going to be very, very difficult to actually burst them down.
Yeah, he's going to get a lot of time to stack up that Conqueror. He's going to be incredibly strong. And now we move into a phase where Impunity seems to be looking for more of a dragon win condition here. These ramps here on the blue side, very wide, very easy for Sion to just kind of drive up on top of. See Bang2, trying his damn best. So with a little bit of AP, those ults really do chunk quite hard. Impunity now setting up for the Ocean Drake once more. And let's see, ICU is spotted. He could just walk himself into the death trap. Faith goes in, lands the charm. There we go. ICU goes down. Faith going unstoppable. And excuse me, it will be the Hextech Drake coming through, the third one for Impunity.
Yeah, that was once again,
unstoppable onslaught going for no targets there, as Alio would be able to get out of that regardless with Ragnarok. But Impunity have decided to go straight from buff to buff and start this Baron.
Once again, communication playing a big factor in that move. Is ICU, he's the one to approach, and the rest of the squad's just not there. Bang2 has the ultimate available. He can get it across a really nice section of the team here.
Half of the team just went into... that was interesting. Enhao goes into the pit. So does Bang2. And Hurricane Gaming actually... they pull off the rear guard action. They get out on both sides. I'm completely amazed that they were able to pull that one off. I felt like it was a really questionable realm warp, but it worked.
Questionable realm warp indeed, but Impunity, it felt like right when they got the Baron, they were like, alright, let's not risk this fight. We don't know how much damage we could potentially just eat, because again, we're taking damage from Baron, so resistances getting shredded. It's a bit of an AP Ezreal coming out with the Shattered Queen, so he is going to do a lot more damage than what you might expect. And when the resistances get shredded by Baron buff, it also means the Rise is going to do a lot more damage than you expect, because all of a sudden he can do damage instead of with just this tank build and kind of just walking at you. And Blaze takes yet another chunk of damage, doesn't have lifesteal out of his itemization quite yet, which means that the poke's going to hurt.
Yeah, we have seen ICU and Bang2 do a lot of damage, but so far it hasn't been as, I would say, clean as Hurricane Gaming might have wanted. We really want to see that sort of siege poke situation where they can continuously throw out abilities like they're doing now. I think Bang2's doing a great job, landing so much that he's already got his Conquerors to just charge up. That's what we want to see of the poke composition. Quiet taking so much of it down though, and we do have this push with the empowered minions going through on double lanes. And ICU, I don't see this as a particularly worthwhile trade. He's going to trade 1 for 2 in the grand scheme of things, and he's still going forward. Very interesting move here, as Impunity now just trying to protect their cannon minions. And wow,
hold the gates!
ICU is going to land, but Cha-Cha gets hit by the charm. Is going to have to flash out. He's still alive, but Faith is after him. The unstoppable onslaught doesn't find a target. Alio is the one going down, and Blaze flashes in between 2 towers to get excited and take down the inhibitor. They have the 4-man right now. They find the damage onto Bang2, and that's the most important defender. ICU comes down, rooted instantly, and dies. The Gambit falls apart. Impunity take the challenge, and they step up to the Nexus.
I don't know what to say about that kind of decision making there, but Hurricane Gaming, they made the decision, and it was most certainly a dare at Impunity, and they just accepted the dare. They were like, well, this isn't really a dare when we know we're more powerful than you, and that we also shove towers a lot faster because we have a Jinx. We also have 4 other members, so good luck.
Yeah, that play was really weird to me, because I don't think it would ever have worked out, especially when you have an enemy team with Baron. They could just teleport one person back, and
yeah,
they will guarantee win trade. So yeah, it's very interesting. It reminds me of we have a solo queue saying on the Taiwanese servers. It's called backdoor till the end, and that is how a lot of people play here. They just like they disregard the entire
team. He was a champion like Tryndamere.
Too bad it was banned. And they actually banned it themselves, though.
Yeah, exactly.
The Aatrox is just a fill. We did get word from our producer that that was actually just a complete misband. So I just want to clarify that. But looking at the draft, I don't think it was unplayable from Hurricane Gaming. I actually really liked this draft. Where do you think it kind of went sideways for them?
It really went sideways when their Rise went 6-1-3, and then they decided we're not playing around the Rise. So it's really strange because I feel like in those moments, Cha-Cha should be speaking up a lot more to be like, hey, I'm 6-1-3, I have a Realm Warp, we can just force a lot of these fights now that I have completed 2 items. So they have 2 full items on the Rise in the Fimbulwinter and the Everfrost. You have so much lockdown, you have a lot of tankiness at that stage of the game because of health being a really oppressive stat at that point, that you can just start fights, and they continue to play the 1-4 style and play around ICU when that wasn't the power point in your comp anymore.
Yeah, we saw a lot of trades after like the 6-1-2 point that went in favor of Impunity. Like they were caught out on the top side. The bot lane trade, after the Herald fight, like Impunity were able to just take a mid lane tower, like even without Herald. Like I was kind of surprised at that one. So it does seem like that communication, that just kind of lane allocation, those advantages still showed up strong for Impunity and enabled them to empower over what was kind of a disastrous early game.
Yeah, the early game certainly was back and forth, but the double kill coming in early on for the side of Hurricane Gaming, it felt like that would be the big moment to help propel Hurricane Gaming to find those leads to then snowball and end the game. But they got leads, they didn't find the snowball though.
Yeah, this was I don't know, this was such a weird game. I'm just gonna come out and say it. This was an entertaining
This is
game.
exactly what we would expect though,
Yeah.
Clement, right? From
We're going to
these
the
two
county
teams.
fair. It's Oreos and tacos. Let's go.
Exactly. It's about the food. It's about the food and the experience, not what you learned.
There was so much interesting things about the fights going on. Like, my head was imploding on both of those Baron fights. I was like, wait a minute. Like, I expected Cha-Cha to send his members into, like, up the ramp. He's like, nah, I'm gonna send you guys to the Baron pit. Like, Enhao looked surprised. Enhao was like, oh, we're getting out of here, right? Enhao jumps in, he shows up in the Baron pit, and instantly flashes out. And somehow they all get out. I was like, oh my god, that's
It's
amazing.
like you call an Uber, and then this dark vehicle drives up to you, and you're like, that's probably my Uber, right? But no, you get kidnapped, and
yeah, the guys with like ski masks come out of the back and they're just like, get on, this is your Uber ride. You better rate this 5 stars. Yeah, that was an amazing game. That was an amazing game to watch. I expected nothing less from Hurricane Gaming, and that's why you guys watch the PCS.
this is what makes Hurricane Gaming fun to watch, though, is that if they don't know how they're going to play the game, like, how can you game plan against them, you know?
Did you see, like, the player cams from Impunity after the match? Like, they were so calm. They looked more shell-shocked than Hurricane Gaming was. Like, they're just like, that trade happened? Like, okay, we'll take that trade.
Yeah, from beginning to end, Hurricane Gaming kept us on the edge of our seat with not
I like how
necessarily
calm Impunity works.
mechanics, but yeah, certainly the decision making. Hey, at the very least, Bang 2 on this Ezreal, he got to hit a Scion a lot, and he farmed the damage numbers, baby.
Impunity, they do get the MVP onto Quiet. I think it's well deserved. The pick itself was so intelligent, just blocked so much damage, and he had a lot of kill participation as well, was incredibly accurate with the unstoppable onslaught, which I was really surprised by. You know, Quiet really showing us that he has more than just fighters.
Absolutely, and that's a good look for Impunity. They get themselves a 3rd win. Hopefully that propels them to build upon that momentum into that second half of the split. And I mean, blue side is just busted.
Everyone knows it by now. Yesterday we had a bit of a flip in the matrix, but today it goes all the way back to the blue side. We do have, I think the big headline, of course, is CFO finally dropping down their flawless status and Beyond Gaming able to take a win over them. Elsewhere, we do have Impunity now improving to 6th place overall with the head-to-head over Meta Falcon team. That's what I told you guys. I trust in Impunity. I trust in Singapore.
Impunity getting a key win. As we do get the standings pulled up, you're going to see Impunity. Yep, they do have that 1 win streak as well, whereas Meta Falcon team finished that first half with a 2 loss streak. And I mean, they started out with 2 straight wins, right? And then they go 1-6. Really unfortunate for their team, but when you watch some of these games, I feel like it's even more unfortunate with how some of these games have started, that really is like, you don't feel too bad for them because of that.
Yeah, I have to concur on that point. Just a small mistake on my part. Impunity still at 7th place, unable to take over Frank Esports as they do find a win today. And we do have all 3 J teams in the top 3. So welcome to, people are calling, there's Metaverse from Facebook, and in the PCS we have JTverse. So that's what we have in store. The matches for week 4, we have not decided when PSG's additional matches or missing matches from week 2 will be played. Those will be to be announced, so please pay attention to our Twitch and Facebook pages for that information. So we're just going to show the standard schedule on week 4. We are moving into the second round robin for most of these teams. 18 games in total. We'll see how they do, and maybe if someone else can knock down CFO.
That'll be the thing to watch out here, but it also means that there's opportunity now for DCG to catch up and for PSG to overtake CFO in the standings, as well as their only loss came at the hands of Beyond Gaming. So now we have 3 1-loss squads.
Yeah, a lot of those teams into the top side, and it's so weird because J-Team last split were barely holding on to a 3rd or 4th place position, and somehow if you split J-Team up, they actually become stronger. I don't know what's happening with that one. Maybe it's a chemistry thing, but people all over the PCS are just completely flabbergasted at that result. A very good showing from them so far. And we are, looking at the second half coming into this split. A lot of teams have showcased their general standings and where they really set themselves up or set themselves apart. Who do you think is going to be the biggest mover in the second split? Are we going to have any massive surprises?
I think potentially you could see Frank Esports crack the top 5. I think player-wise, they are there. It's just a matter of getting all the pieces coherently when it comes to map movements as a squad. So in that regard, they have the opportunity to try and overtake a team like Beyond Gaming, who do lack in that department. And I mean, it goes kind of both ways. Like if Beyond Gaming all of a sudden learn how to move around the map and learn some of these basic things like wave manipulations, they could make a big jump up the standings because their firepower is insane.
I expected nothing less from a person named Frank, and I want to thank you for your participation in the first half of the PCS. It's been an absolute blast. I can't believe that time is passing us so quickly. When you come back in week 4, we will be moving on into the second half of the regular season, and hopefully PSG will be there back to join us. It's goodbye for now, but not forever. See you guys next week.